Hi, I'm Ron Furman. Welcome to the Prickly Pear Show. Hi, and welcome to the Prickly Pear Show. I'm Ron Furman. So nice to have you guys. It is Sunday. What is it? August. What's today's date?
The 8th? The 11th, sorry.
11th.
11th.
Wow,
yeah.
wow. Summer's almost done. It's approaching. Today we have a special show. I decided to get my crew. Clearly Anthony's not here because Anthony's pressing the button. Take off the hat. Come on, come join us. You look great. People recognize you from Starbucks, from serving them coffee. One of the best people around. Come sit down. So today I wanted to give, first off, I don't know if congratulations to you guys or, I don't know what to wish you, but I want to tell you that you guys are doing an amazing job on the show. We're finally getting sponsors. We're getting recognized, and it's not just my work, but it's these two gentlemen that are helping behind the scenes. You've been with us for about a year, helping us out, going through the whole transition. His name is Anthony Fisette. And we have Gilad, who is new in the crew, and very happy to have you. One thing that we all have in common is that three of us are very passionate about what we're doing. Not just film related, but telling stories or helping out. And I kind of wanted to know, in front of the audience, to know sort of what drives you as a person to want to participate in some of this, because none of us are making money. This is not really about money making, this is more about paying it forward. So I wanted to know what gets someone like yourselves the opportunity to come out and do this every Sunday. Well, I guess you've been here the longest, so maybe.
Well, when I first started, this is not something I was looking into at all.
How did I kidnap you? How did I make this work?
It's a funny story because when I first met you, I was talking about how I was passionate about marketing, right? Especially in Instagram. That was my biggest platform because I was able to grow a few pages on my own, and I was always excited about the fact that there were people who were tuning in to my Instagram pages. So when you were telling me about the podcast, I was like, maybe this is something I can take in, learn about, because I didn't even know how to use your camera when I first came here, remember?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I kind of had an idea of how things work. That's why we were able to get the program ready, the green screen, and all that stuff. And I just like learning new things all the time, right? So now it's a big thing. Now I'll search for YouTube videos on how to edit videos itself, because I didn't even know how to edit videos either. And I'm even helping some people edit their own videos so I can learn at the same time, which is something I wasn't even looking at to begin with. I was just making websites and marketing.
We're always talking about evolving on this show. We always talk about how you're going into something and then it becomes something else. I've known you now for about over a year, and you see yourself evolving in this industry or finding a path.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, when I first started, I didn't even know these programs existed, the ones we're using for the green screen and all that stuff. And they're not even hard to use. It's just that I wasn't even aware that they existed or that I could use it for my own advantage. And because of this opportunity you gave me, I was able to do all the research I needed and figure out things for myself and for the Prickly Pear show.
It's funny, this wasn't supposed to be about the opportunity I provided. It's more about you taking on that opportunity. Funny enough, so one of our sponsors is Points of View. For those that have been kind of watching what I've been doing on on Facebook, it's a new game that is right now, I believe, in 35 countries around the world. Started in Israel, and it's a way to get people to open up, but learn about themselves. And just prior to doing today's show, because I figured this is about you, we play the cards. And what was your the card that you picked today?
The first one?
Well, not just the pictures, but the word. What was your word?
Opportunity. Yeah, it's insane. I just learned a lot today from that game. So is it a game?
It's a game. Right? It's a game. It's a game, but I mean, we don't want to get into it really because we're going to have an actual show where we're going to be talking about it. By the way, for those that are interested, again, it's called Points of View. Points of View, Canada. If you check it out online, and it's incredible. But what it did was, it gave you an opportunity to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And That's the one thing that we don't do as a society. We don't really have that time, that break to sit back and take things in and just try to formulate, where our life is going. And this is sort of where you come in.
I guess so.
So why don't you introduce yourself and, same type of question, like where do you see yourself fitting in? Why did you decide to take this opportunity?
Sure. Well, my name is Gilad. I kind of came here. Yeah, I think you actually met my mom through Points of View. And kind of connected. And I was making videos as a kid, and something I was very, very passionate about. Like Ron, I moved here when I was 10, and I found kind of a solace in making videos. I was really into stop motion videos, which I don't even know if you remember, but in 2006, 2008, stop motion videos on YouTube were like the first viral videos. And I was crazy passionate about it. I loved every second of it. And I think around the time when, maybe it was girls, maybe it was, friends or something, I kind of figured, okay, I know that's what I want to do and that's what I love, but I got to put that aside so I could fit in the Canadians. I graduated a year and a half ago, studied economics, and saw myself going into maybe marketing, maybe was even looking into design. And then I just kind of came to the conclusion that there's just no escaping something like this. It's a love and a passion, and I saw myself at every moment of the day. I was like, that's a great story. Like, wow, that would be a great scene. This music sounds great. So I think storytelling is an inherent, maybe a love, or maybe if you just have an eye for it, something I'm incredibly passionate about, and I figured I just got to jump into it, and this was the first opportunity that I saw.
Why? I want to know, why do you have a need? And when I say this clearly sarcastically in a way, because it's talking to myself, where's that need to say, you know what, I'm a passionate person, I got to go out and do? Because clearly sitting back at home and not doing anything is a lot easier, right? Like where is the drive coming from? And also, do you feel like you're utilizing it, at 100%? Do you feel like you're taking those opportunities?
Okay, if I go first?
Yeah.
I think I actually disagree with saying that sitting at home and doing nothing is easier. I think if you've been pricked by that thorn where you're a passionate person, you either do something with it or it will just drive you crazy. Because if you're watching a movie, if you're reading a book, if you're listening to music, there's always this thing in you that says, I want to create something, or like, oh, this song would go great with this, or
But how many of us are actually doing it? How many of us have planning to write a book? How many of us are planning to put this music video together?
I think we tell ourselves this tragic story that we're not worthy, that it's not, that you're born this person, and few of us. If you even watch, I remember watching a Martin Scorsese interview where he was talking about Steven Spielberg, and it kind of dawned on me. I was like, these are normal people,
Right.
Who just got out of the way of their genius. I think that if you get your mind out of the way, Guy Ritchie, my favorite director, said this too. Is like, you got to be the master of your own kingdom. It's just people who got out of the way of their genius and did everything in their, I'm assuming did everything in their power to manifest their vision. I think that is what really comes down to the people who become incredibly successful and the people who struggle along the way, is that you just have to kind of trust yourself.
Yourself?
What was the question again?
Well, I want to know, you live with some sort of passion, right? I mean, you're passionate about marketing, you're passionate about Instagram, you were lighting up when you were talking about it. I'm sure you're not passionate about making coffees for people, right? But you're probably passionate about being around people.
No, actually, it's changed a lot. I honestly did not like that part of the job, but now it's my favorite part.
Making coffee.
No, interacting with people. I learn new things from them. They learn things from me. There's always a new opportunity that arises because I'm actually communicating with them, telling them what I do. They tell me what they do, and sometimes they'll even try to teach me what they're doing and or try to utilize some of the skills I have. So it's something that you don't find everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
And when I started working here, the first thing the manager told me was that I had no choice. I have to interact with every single customer that comes in. I have to greet them. I have to ask them how's their day. Try to, make a connection every time. So
How did it feel?
So
So
they
I-
want to come back.
I want to. It makes sense on so many levels, but you are your own person,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's people who are introverted, people who are extroverted, but like, you took on this. You needed to get paid, so you took on this opportunity, and in some ways, it served you in ways that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Have you ever like taken a second to just reflect and go, "I am a different person," like we did today with points of view?
Yeah. Like today, when I was telling people, I was asking some of my coworkers what was their favorite part, and I said, well, mine is just staying on bar and making drinks. But that's not because I'm making drinks. It's because I'm interacting with the customers. Because when you're taking their order, you're not really talking to them that much. You're just taking their order. But when you're making their drink and they're waiting there, you're actually talking to them, asking how's their day. And something that I like is that almost every customer that we have only want me to make their drink because they say that I make the best drinks at our store.
He can back it up, by the way. He won third place.
Oh,
In,
yeah.
Like there's a competition where like a barista competition, and he came in there and he got third place in the entire area and
Yeah.
representing Thornhill.
And I was
Barista
still
competition.
still new because everyone that was competing there had been working for like 3 years, and I had only been working for like 4 months when I started the competition. My manager really wanted me to go, and the problem is that I wasn't taking it seriously. I just did it because my manager kept like pestering me to do it, but I didn't read any of the stuff she told me to read. I didn't practice or anything like that. And the part I did not do so well was interacting with the judges. So my drinks were perfect, but that's not the only thing they factor in. It's how you interact and all that stuff.
After that, you came and you go, I should have got first place. I should have worked harder.
Yeah, yeah.
And I felt that there was some sort of energy about you that now you caught yourself. And maybe that lesson is going to help you with other things as opposed to just making coffee. Not that I'm belittling making coffee, but like maybe now it's going to say, okay, hey, I have an opportunity to put more focus on things that I'm going to benefit from. Third place is not where I want to be. I want to be first, right? So
Yeah.
something about you changed. I've noticed because we had to talk about this when you came to work after. You came a little bit more like I want to do, right? But the problem is most people, they say they want to do, and there's people out there on the couch watching right now, they're saying, I want to do. I want to do. They don't actually get up and do it. And that really is the difference between someone succeeding or not succeeding. We have a lot in common, the three of us, even though I'm older than you and, like maybe we come from different backgrounds, or well, you and I probably have more in common when it comes to it. But what we have in common is the fact that we're willing to put ourselves out there. We keep saying yes. And I want to ask, like, by saying yes, how do you feel that it serves you? And by saying no, how do you feel that it serves you?
With me, I tend to overthink, and saying yes to me is less so a proactive thing. It's more, it just kind of neutralizes that fear that some people have. I think for the people at home who might be on their couch, they might feel guilty for staying on their couch, but I understand. Like it's even though there's so much content out there, it is still a terrifying thing to express yourself and just throw that out into the world, where kind of everybody can criticize you. You might be very self-critical as well. To me, saying yes is more. The more I say yes, that's kind of what I told myself when I graduated. I was like, from now on, we're saying yes. We're gonna try different things out. We're gonna see what the world's like. And I've been doing that, and the more I say yes, the more I find out that things usually turn out fairly well. If you have an open mind, if you're willing to work hard, and it's driven by passion. So I do have a message to the people at home. It's say yes and really don't overthink it. Things really definitely turn out for the best.
I mean, if things don't work out,
you haven't lost anything. You've learned.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like if you didn't try it, then that's when you're really at loss because you haven't given that opportunity. But you're noticing that when you're saying yes to things, you're getting more things. And a lot of people like I feel like being in marketing, I pitch on a regular basis. Try this, take this, but I'm not really selling anything to anyone. I'm not selling anything. I'm providing an opportunity for people to go, hey, this may work for you, or this is something that might be fun, and it may not. But doesn't take too much dedication. But I always wonder, like, what stops people from saying no to things? I want to get back on something else. So I put out a post the other day about contemplating going back to Israel. I feel like over the past 30 years, that thought has, gone through my mind a bazillion times, all right? The first 4 years, probably, just about 10 billion, but like lately less and less, but I'm feeling this like weird connection. And I kind of came to this place in my life where if not now, then when am I going to do this? Now I have priorities. I have things that I need to finish off, so I can't just like pick up and leave. And I have the show, and I have you guys, and so my folks don't even know this. My sister doesn't know this, but I've made the decision to leave next year. I still want to do this. I still want to create. This is not something I'm letting go, but I felt like it's something that's within me, and the job that I do can be done from abroad. I'm on the internet the entire time, anyways, so might as well. But I decided to take the biggest plunge in my life because every 2 to 3 years I felt like I'm running away. I'm going away to different things: Los Angeles, New York, back to Toronto, going somewhere. This was the first time I feel like I'm actually not wanting to go to Israel because I'm running away from anything. Because I'm not running away from anything.
Yeah.
Creating.
It might. I mean, I know with me, when I go back there, it feels like, funny enough, like there's something called string theory where it says that there's a loop in time. And to me, it almost feels like I'm reconnecting timelines. I go back there and I'm like, oh, that's really, it's like going back to who I was almost meant to be. So I would say 100% go for it, and it feels right.
It feels right. I mean, you don't know anything about this.
No.
I'm telling you this for the first time. Again, it's just there's something about it, and I keep talking about this yes, and I keep talking about taking these chances, and I notice that there's certain things that keep holding me back, and they're not fears. I'm not going to Israel with fears. I'm more going to Israel with like, okay, what am I actually going to do? Like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to survive? How am I going to make it happen? But in some ways, I'm not worried. Like, I'm just going with it, and I know that I built here something, and I'm going to carry this with me and continue on. But my journey is just at the beginning. The reason I brought this up is I want to know, what is your plan?
What is?
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting it out there like this. Like, have you thought?
How far ahead?
It's up to you. It's up to you to share. Is it weird that we're doing this live in front of people and you're like,
No. Honestly, I'm not afraid of speaking out my mind at all. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't know myself well, so I really don't know what I want, and that's why I'm all over the place. I say yes to everything. That's the problem. It's a problem, but it isn't at the same time, because you're learning all these things, but at the same time you're not sticking to this one thing that you really like.
are you prioritizing?
I'm not prioritizing at all. That's the problem, because I say yes to everything. But I feel
And
like,
how many of those things do you actually end up doing? Because you keep saying yes. That means you're probably disappointing some
honestly,
people.
because I say yes to everything, I start and I don't finish. I half-ass. Everything's half-assed, honestly. So if I were to prioritize stuff and just stick to that one thing, I feel like I would actually complete projects and get better at it, kind of thing.
Have you thought about creating some sort of a plan of like, this is what I'd like to do over the next 3 years? And
No, I'm actually, like, I just started changing a lot of things right now. Like, I'm actually planning my days now. I plan like a week ahead, just because every time I say yes to something, I always forget the like my schedule work. Like I'm always working, right? And that's not something I want to. That's not where I want to stay because I know that no matter what I do, I mean I don't want to sound like I'm showing off or anything, but I know I'll always do well because like it's just something that
No, it's a mindset.
yeah, it's like
That's okay.
I learn quickly and I have this thing where I like things to be like in for myself anyways things need to be perfect, right? Not perfect, but I like high quality stuff. So if I'm working on something, I'm always going to make sure it's like I'm going above and beyond kind of thing. um, but when I'm taking all these things in, I'm not doing that because uh, like I'm making all these promises and they all have like the same deadline, or I'm trying to please everyone, but you can't do that. You can't. It's not something that I can do. I have to just stick to one thing or two things, but like just be consistent. Consistency is key, honestly.
Well, this is recorded.
Yeah,
So now, anytime you need that motivation, you don't need to hear it from me. You need to hear it from yourself.
especially this. Like we've been consistent for the past year. Like I come here almost every Sunday. Like I've probably missed 2 or 3 times, but for the past year, I've been coming here every Sunday, and we're getting better at it. Well, I'm getting better at it, and
I'm not.
it's
I'm
because of
getting worse.
consistency.
Where do you see yourself?
Um, I'm very similar to you. Where like I say yes to a lot of things. I think in this past summer, I've honed it down to. For me, I've always known what I wanted to do, but I was so scared of admitting it. So I did everything to try and escape from it. Wore every mask I could possibly pull out of the hat. I think I would like to give filmmaking the best possible shot I can give it. Um, you and I agree that there's a lack of depth to storytelling today, and I think, to me at least in my life, it's been like more evident than ever that that has a huge effect on me personally. It seems to me like the quality of movies that are out there, the quality of music, um, it just kind of sets a tone, and it really is kind of at the front line of like kind of like the narrative. Like I think movies have at least this is how I see it. Like movies have a way bigger effect on all of us than I previously thought. So I'd like to give it the best shot that I can. So I think my 5-year plan is just to be on as many movie sets as I can, and I'd like to direct something, write a story and direct it before I turn 25.
What happens if you don't reach the goal? Let's pretend right now you did not get the opportunity to direct your film. You didn't get to do as many PAing or AD jobs on sets. How would you feel?
I always, when it comes down to that, I always think like me a year ago would be so amazed that I even had the courage to go out there and even try. So it would always be like a kind of a pat on the back. Like, first of all, you had the courage, and the opportunities will keep coming.
Right.
So it's just I learned something.
The reason I bring this up is because sometimes we look at our failures, right? And I can attest what I went through the last 3 years. I never expected to go through. It was it's been very, very hard 3 years. But I'm not the same person, and clearly I never wanted those bad things to happen. But it's really about learning to overcome. And the reason that I think it took me a little bit longer is because I didn't know myself that well. And what I mean myself is like how strong I am as a person, or what is it that I can actually do. Even though I knew that these are the skills that I own, this is what I can do, and I'm a very confident person. I walk around, when I know something, I know something. I don't shy away. But I always held on to the difficulties. I always held on to the things that kind of set me back. But it's really about moving forward. It's really about like getting up and going and doing, because what we don't understand is that by laying in bed, by not doing something, we're actually hurting ourselves. We're actually creating more problems that are going to set off a little bit later. After doing points of view, and this is why I bring it up, and I want to be honest with the audience, not just I'm advertising for them because we have a relationship, but it actually did something to me, and I was able to open up more to myself. And something that maybe I talk about in the show, but like showering became very difficult for me. I don't mean like washing myself. It just meant I'd feel closed off in the shower, and I'd go into my own head, and I'd start to think about the worst things ever. So I started to hate being in the shower, and I try to do it really quickly so I don't have to be in my head for too long. And since going through this process about a month ago, I've been able to shower without worry of anything. And I know it sounds maybe silly to some. Some people are saying, "What's this guy talking about?" But try to relate that this was a moment in time where I was stuck in my head, and all of a sudden I was able to just let go, and it happened. But it didn't just happen because of this one process. It's everything that I've gone through. And the reason I started this conversation is because everything that we learn in life is a tool. And now, whenever I go through a situation where I'm upset or something, I go back to, okay, what am I supposed to be doing now? Take myself back. Am I supposed to breathe? Am I supposed to relax? Am I supposed to not think about it, right? So what else do I have? So the more things that I learn throughout the process, the better I am as a person. So I think this yes thing that we talked about is not just about, yes, I'm going to take on an opportunity, but yes, I'm going to find a way to make this worth my while. When I worked in the States for a company called Stand With Us, the job that I was supposed to be doing at the beginning was to go out and teach, to go out to different universities and talk about Israel, the Middle East conflict, etc., which is everything I knew. But then I got a job because I was in Los Angeles, in the same place, to work in an office and to build, from constant contact, newsletters, and do the website, and read articles and post them and edit them and research and all that. I was like, whoa, this is not it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be teaching. But I remember taking a step back and I said, okay, here's an opportunity now for me to learn all these things while teaching. And the next job I had, they asked me to do all these newsletters, constant contact, and whatever. So now these skills, I was able to utilize them at the new job. I bring this up because there's times on this set, there's times that we're going to be working together throughout the year that may not seem like they're really helpful. It may not seem like it's something I want to do. Right? Like in order for me to create the set, I have to sweat a little bit, move things around. But at the end of the day, I need to make room for 3 people. I need to make sure that everything still looks legit. So I had to go through that minor hardship to be able to make this happen. So the reason I bring this up is because I know you guys are young, and if I can pass on something to you, and really today was about highlighting you guys. Today was an opportunity for me to say thank you to you guys, because the people out there don't know, they don't see you, they think that it's only me. I want to thank also Ellie for being involved at a certain point, and Mira, and of course Lee, 3 people and Noah, who comes out often, and all our guests. You guys are the reason that the show continues to go on, because you inspire. Even though things do not work out the right way, right? It's very easy to give up, right? After one thing doesn't work out, you give up and you move forward. So I wanted to not go into depth about today's show, but I kind of wanted to open it to you guys. What is it you guys want to discuss?
You know what? What's the plan for the show in the future?
Okay, great. So
What should we work on? What direction do we want to go into? And this is something for all of us, right? So it's like a question for everyone.
Gilad, you could speak. If you want me to speak, I could start. It's not a problem.
Plan for me? I just got on board with the show, so my plan is actually to learn for the next, as much as I can, retain as much information to the point where I'm competent enough to actually take the show in a certain direction. But yeah, right now it's just to learn.
I did this because I wanted to help people. Um, the show, The Prickly Pear, the idea has been around for quite some time. It was supposed to be more political at the time where I came up with it, but because I feel like you cannot be discussing politics with people all the time, and nobody really wants to talk politics all the time. It's just one of those things. But I felt we needed to know, like, this is information we need to know. We need to know what to do with it because we're affected by everything around us. If you're driving, well, you're paying, $1.45 per liter. I mean, it's affecting you. You're driving, right? Somehow somebody made the decision that this is what it's going to cost, and didn't just come out of nowhere. So I figured here was an opportunity for me to be able to talk about things that I care about. But then it started to evolve, and it became more about the guests. It became more about me learning from people. It's funny because a lot of people would say that I have a big mouth and I talk a lot, which is true. I'm not going to deny it. I do, but I learn from people all the time. I create conversations. I add my information, but I absorb what people are telling me. So whether it's good or bad, I take it in, and then I use that information for my next thing. So literally, it's like a tool. And through this process, I learned that there's so many amazing people out there doing great things, and we're not by ourselves. Like, there's people who are living with passion, and we just don't know about it. And I wanted to give them a stage to highlight those amazing things, and hopefully that will snowball, and other people will do amazing things. Even if it's just a little spark, even if they watch something and learn something, it doesn't matter. It's going to be something good. But without lying to ourselves, we know that good things usually come when bad things happen, right? So, for example, when was the last time you saw your mom?
Earlier today.
Excellent. So you miss her, but if you left for a month, you're really gonna miss her. There's gonna be something about it, right? That struggle of like, oh, I haven't seen my mom, and like had to overcome on my own. I'm so used to seeing her, all of a sudden missing her. Like that brings you guys together a little bit more, right? Every time you struggle a little bit and you were able to make it, you're happier. Like the transition into green screen, we were having difficulties, didn't know where things were coming from. I mean, I went to film school, but I never really dealt with live, right? And seeing this grow and bring you guys on board from nothing and for free. I mean, I'm here to say thank you. This is really what it's all about. To the audience, to you, to the sponsors, you made this happen, right? I just needed to be the catalyst to push things forward, but here you are. So my hope is that you take everything in from the guests that are going to be coming in, for myself. Sometimes you have to listen even to yourself, listen to how you're feeling about things, make a recommendation. If you feel like the show should go in a different direction, speak your mind, because only when you actually put things into action will there be a reaction. So you need to make sure that you're always moving forward and creating. Next week we're going to have a special guest. I keep saying special guest. Everyone is special who's on the show. But we have fitness model Nikki Bucci who's going to be coming. I know Nikki, I believe, since 7th grade. So, but she was always like a pretty girl. I remember her as a quiet, shy, smart girl. Not the girl that I would think would become the fitness model, not to offend, but I just never thought that person would become the fitness model. But she is over 40. I'm sorry I'm giving her age away, but she looks phenomenal. And I think that reaching that age, there's a lot of people out there that probably would like to know what is she doing right that we're doing wrong. And yes, this is her job, and yes, she takes care of herself. But the bottom line is that this is our body. I mean, what else do we have? So hopefully she's going to give us some pointers. After that, we're going to have MPP Roman Babar coming on the show. He is the MPP of this region. His office was right outside our place. Literally, I remember I was out here when people came out to take pictures of him before he got elected, and he's we could say an old friend, an old acquaintance. But it will be a great opportunity to have him talk about what is he doing for the community. And I feel like it's great that we're always talking to people from the community, but it's great to also have people at the top, those that can really make that difference. So you guys are going to be a part of it. You're going to play a big role, but I want you to feel confident But this show, in some ways, is going to inspire you to be at your best. So it's not just about pressing a button, holding a camera, or listening to me get upset at something. It's a lot more than that. And if you read between the lines, this is going to benefit all of us. I'm going to say one word before we end off, and I want you to tell me what this word really means to you, okay? It's a word that's pretty common. People use it all the time, but it's different for everyone, and the word is success.
Success. What does it mean to me?
We all search for that,
It's
right?
different for everyone, right? No, there are different ways of being successful. For me personally, I feel like I'll be successful once I find like true happiness or something like that. Whether it's from doing something I love or what else? Such a hard question.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. See, I threw in a word, and if you can't find what does success actually mean to you, how do you know when you've reached it?
Yeah.
There's a saying by a philosopher named Seneca, which I always think about when people ask me that question every single time, which is, if you don't know which port you're sailing to, then no wind is favorable. It really resonates with me because I've had this like obsession that really led me astray, like with success. It was, you know, I really want to be successful. I work my hardest, but I just didn't know what it was I wanted to do, right? So I think if you have a moment with yourself, take a deep breath. It seems like a lot of the time you get worked up, but then you always kind of know. It's that thing that feels like the right piece in the puzzle that we always somehow lose when we get caught up with trivial things. But to me, success would be to be able to express my vision forward. Like the ideas that I always have in my head that make day-to-day life like very difficult because I'm always thinking about those things. But when I was a kid, I had this like great vision of life, and I was like, you know, and I rekindle that passion when I take small steps towards achieving that vision. So I think to me, success would be to live out my childhood vision of who I wanted to be, how I would have liked the world to be. Obviously, you can't change the world, but you could lead by example. That's what I refined that word to success.
You don't sound like a 20-something-year-old. You sound like a 40-year-old.
I've thought about this so much, you know.
It's good.
Yeah.
So thank you again for helping me make an impact. Without you, would not have a show. And I wanted to give you guys the props you deserve. It's been a long time coming, as you see. Like now, your faces are it's going to be online. You're going to be seeing. But really, it's about the hard work. And I want to thank you. So till next week, you can go turn it off. He's going to shake your hand, but he just got dissed on camera.
No. That's
As
not
if
what
it's
happened.
important. I'm just joking. On behalf of my crew, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Please tune in next week as we're going to have fitness model Nikki Bucci on the show. You don't want to miss it. She's a beautiful girl. And maybe we'll learn a thing or two about working out, dieting, and really being the best that we can be at at any age. So on behalf of my crew, and thank you to the audience for sticking in. Of course, our sponsors. Have yourself an amazing Sunday and enjoy the rest of the summer.